Coming up, a Q&A from you that I get all the time, emblematic of how, in my view at least, many consumers go about the proposition of heavy towing entirely the wrong way. Details next. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au and I get new cars cheap for buyers here in Australia, all the way to Dingo Piss Creek. Website for that, obviously. Or you can just click the car that I towed up there. Now it was friggin' heavy too, 3.5 tons. You know what to do, dude. Okay, so this is a question from Marion and Ian Cash all the way over in Western Australia. Dear Sir or Madam, I was hoping just this much, that by now at least the determination there might be obvious. I know things are very confusing on that front in the modern world, but not so much in my case, I would have thought. Anyway, this is headlined Land Cruiser 300, Land Cruiser 200, MUX, D-Max and Ford Ranger. Okay, so we have a 2009 Prado which we use to tow our on-road caravan, 1,800 kilos fully loaded. This works fine, but we want to get off-road to Dingo Piss Creek. Who doesn't, dudes? So we have ordered an off-road van, 2.7 tonnes, fully loaded. Delivery of May 2023 plus. That's 15 months away. The pandemic might be over by then, and just going out there on a limb, I'd suggest that there is just like the massive probability that there will be so many used caravans for sale on Gumtree, etc., at about that time. Once, international travel kicks off in force and we learn to live with the virus. Like, that's a done deal, surely. Anyway, we realise that we'll need a bigger tow vehicle. Yep. We've test-driven the Land Cruiser 300 series and it feels like a beefy Prado. I wonder why. Perhaps they should have called it that, beefy Prado. King of mediocrity. We are really conscious of GVM limits, good, as well as the tow hitch download limit, good, and the towing limit of the tow vehicle. Also good. You have to be across all of the numbers, Marion and Ian. It's not optional, towing something heavy. I've prepared a spreadsheet for a selection of cars. I think that's a breach of the Dingo Piss Creekian Visa Code of Ethics right there, using logic to determine. Just putting it out there, I've never been. Focusing specifically on load constraints, and for our situation, GVM seems to be quite tight, particularly for the 200 or 300 series Land Cruisers. Yeah, it is. In fact, they say 3.5 tonnes, right? But if you're towing 2.7, you really are living kind of life on the edge. Sorry, I had to just duck out to the other end of the fat cave and get my notes on this, because when you look at something like a GXL 300 series, you realise just how tight the load constraints are, even at what you might presume is a reasonably conservative tow assignment of 2.7 tonnes. And you might assume that's conservative given the vehicle's notional 3.5 tonne tow limit. But I did just run the numbers on the GXL in preparation for this answer, lest you think I'm just winging it. And let's not forget, Land Cruiser 300 GXL, like FFS, dude, it's $112,000 drive away in Western Australia, and about that price everywhere else, let's not forget. This is such a sizable chunk of cash. Okay, so let's look at what happens if you put a trailer on the back of your GXL Land Cruiser, which is halfway to a poverty pack, let's not forget, and let's assume it's 2.7 tonnes total weight with a 270 kilo tow ball download limit. This is a vehicle with a Kerb weight of 2.58 tonnes, okay? So it weighs more than 2.5 tonnes. It's got a GVM of 3280. So the payload in total is 700 kilos. The tow ball download is part of the payload because the vehicle is carrying it, okay? And when you look at that, you've got to take the 270 off the 700 kilos of total payload, and you might say to yourself, well, I've got 430 kilos of payload remaining, happy days, okay? The tow bar is not standard. And let's assume that it's pretty light, like only 30 kilos or something, and that would be pretty light for a bar that's going to tow a 3.5 ton caravan, okay? So that comes down to 400 kilos from 430, okay? And you haven't put any people in it yet. Like, the curb weight of the vehicle includes the fuel, fair enough, so it's got a full tank of fuel, no problem. But you've got to put yourselves in it, and 2 people with a little bit of basic personal equipment, a bit of drinking water, things of this nature, little handbag, whatever. Let's assume the 2 people, if it is just 2 people, are 100 kilos apiece with their stuff, okay? Just personal stuff in the vehicle. You would want some of that when you're, endlessly on the road to Dingo Piss Creek. You wouldn't want to have the vehicle completely bare inside, and it's a dud idea to do that anyway, because if you decouple the van at any point, you want to have the stuff that's vital for your, let's call it, outback logistics support and worst case scenario survival. You'd want that in the vehicle at all times, so that if you just drive off 10 or 20 k's away from the van and something really bad happens, that you've got half a chance of surviving until you can get support. You've got communications and water and a fire extinguisher and first aid kit and a bit of shelter, things of that nature, right? You'd really want that in the vehicle as well. So, second spare tyre, always a good idea for outback travel. You'd want a compressor and a tyre repair kit to go with your recovery kit. You'd want a shovel, maybe up on a roof rack, and a roof rack's going to add mass as well. So I'd suggest that if you just put 2 people and a little bit of equipment, not including all of that stuff we've just discussed, you've only got 200 kilos remaining, okay? That's no bull bar on the car yet, and most of you Dingo Piss Creekians, you want to fit a bull bar because you want to fit in with the other beard strokers, right? And their blue singlets and ZZ top beards and sitting around looking at the urea billabong and its golden reflections at sunset. I'd suggest that's really hard to manage, right? Even at 2.7 tonnes. And what if you've got kids? It's going to be, 50 kilos a kid with all of the shit that they need as well, and you're going to put extra stuff in the car to support them, okay? And then that 200 kilos is looking real thin, okay? You get stopped at any time and weighed, and in any case, this is a quote-unquote off-road van. Jesus, if you're going to go off-road with a big, heavy piece of shit like that, then the actual limits have to be contracted somewhat because you're operating the vehicle, the combination, in a much harsher environment. And this is the kind of thing that a lot of people who go heavy towing never really factor in, like limits, GVM, GCM, things like that. They're in reasonably ideal situations. It's not like driving through a rough creek or endlessly on some rough road. It's just not. Anyway, the cashers go on and they say this is a significant financial and safety decision. Yeah, it is, that we are making, particular with the COVID tax. I get that there are no discounts on things like caravans at the moment. Why would there be? Because demand grossly exceeds supply. And we acknowledge that our knowledge is limited by our experience, as described above. Well, that's really good, because that's how you know you don't suffer from Dunning-Kruger syndrome. The Dunning-Kruger effect is that you're so stupid that you think you're a genius, right? So we think it's got to be worthwhile consulting you for assistance in making this decision. Well, I'm sorry to hear that your lives have come to that. Based on the above, we would be very grateful to you if you could let us know what you can do for us and how much you charge. Well, what I can do, Marion and Ian, is I can do this video that tells you exactly what I think, and what I'm going to charge you for it is a big fat 0, because I think many other people could benefit from this advice. I really do. And I'm not trying to be an unmitigated bastard about what you want to do. I'm actually all for people going out and adventuring in the country and having a good time. But there is this arms race with things like caravans and camper vans, and the whole notion of a heavy off-road camper is flat out fucking ridiculous, okay? And buying the van, committing to buying the van before you've done the integrated solution, which would be the other half of the proposition, like getting a vehicle in place to tow it, that's nuts. I guess many people just presume that they'll be able to find a suitable vehicle. Now, the other ones on this list, incidentally, are Land Cruiser 200, which is essentially the same kind of tow proposition, right? It's not substantially different. And then MUX, D-Max and Ford Ranger. Like, they're all worse. A Land Cruiser is probably the best of the conventional sort of four-wheel drive, off-road capable passenger vehicles to go towing in. I guess you could add Nissan Patrol, which is substantially cheaper. So there's that. It's got similar kind of performance. It's petrol versus diesel, I guess, so you'd have to factor in things like refueling and range. And it depends where you want to go if that's a factor, but, you know, there's that. I would have started by saying, well, what can we do to our existing on-road caravan to maybe just toughen up its durability for a little bit of rougher road sort of duty? And the first thing I'd look at doing in that case would be just better tyres, like more durable tyres, and see how that goes. Like, adventure in increments with the equipment you've already got, dude, because then you can say, well, this is about as rough as we want to go, right? And if that doesn't demand an upgrade of your caravan, then you're welcome, and just saved you 85 or 100 grand, whatever. They do charge through the neck for those bloody things, I'd have to say. So you could also upgrade the axles, like you could put superior hubs and bearings on the axles and just different wheels, maybe a bit of additional rolling diameter if there's physical space. Things of that nature, right? That might really make a big difference to dirt road durability. And it really doesn't make sense to go off-roading in the proper sense of low range, dealing with difficult terrain, off-roading when you're towing 2.7 tonnes. That's fucking crazy, okay? It just is. You could drive down a dirt road, and that's really what we're talking about for the vast majority of outback touring. Like in the 90s, Mazda did this PR stunt. They conscripted me to take part in it. We drove 2 Mazda 929s to the tip of Cape York. Like, that is doable in a car like a 929, and no special tweaks were done. Right, we had a BT50 for support and a technician. That's the way these things usually roll. But the 2 929s, which were just sort of large-ish luxury saloons, they got all the way to the tip of Cape York in the 90s, which is a long time ago now. So there's that to consider as well. And I'd further suggest that the thing you really want to tow anything heavier than 2.5 tonnes is a truck, not a Land Cruiser, not a Patrol, certainly not a ute, and not a wagon like an MUX that's derived from a ute. That's pretty clear to me, right? You want a truck that does four-wheel driving, and here's one I prepared earlier. Something like that, dude. Like the Mitsubishi/Fuso, I think they call it now, Canter, dual cab, 7-seater, okay? And it's got low range. The reduction in low range is about 2 for 1. So you basically cut the gearing in half, and you could do some pretty serious all-terrain driving in a vehicle such as that. Now, I just looked for one, like an MY22 Canter, 80 grand. You know, plus on-road costs. You'd have to put a tray on the back of it. And the salient point here is that the GVM of this thing is 6.5 tonnes, right? And the gross combination mass is 10 tonnes. So you can tow anything you want, basically, with a vehicle such as this. And when you look at the position of the rear axle relative to the end of the chassis, and therefore the orientation of the tow ball relative to the rear axle line, that short distance is going to be a huge plus for towing stability, which is a major factor when you're towing something that weighs north of 2.5 tonnes. And you can even get that particular truck de-specced. It's an option, like off the showroom floor. They can de-spec it just this much, okay? And you can drive it with a car license. And if you don't want to do that, you only have to get an LR license, like a light rigid license, which is not that hard to get, frankly. And you can just upgrade your driver's license and drive it with the non-de-spec'd version. So if you really do want to tow the Taj Mahal, right, that's the kind of thing you're looking at. And I'd further suggest that there's a big difference between 80 grand for a truck and 120 whatever for a Land Cruiser, right? There just is. And if you were going to spend 120 on a Land Cruiser, a truck is going to be objectively superior, and then you've got 40 grand to spend on the truck, which is more than enough to put a tray on the back and some good lockable boxes, and you could carry some meaningful crap in the back and it'd have decent security. And trucks are designed to be operated endlessly, like they're designed to be driven heavily loaded every day. And frankly, passenger vehicles are not, and I'm including Land Cruisers and Patrols, MUXs, things of this nature. They're just not designed to be thrashed at their GVM and GCM limits in the way that trucks are. The R&D for durability is just done differently. So my beard stroking, Akubra wearing, thong friggin' shod, dingo piss creek would-be visitor, I have mad love for you secretly, even though I put shit endlessly on your objective, which is just to get to Dingo Piss Creek. But you've got to be rational about it. Like, a Land Cruiser is a compromised vehicle for anything heavier than 2.5 tons. It's really compromised in the way that a truck is not. And a truck would just do the job better and be more durable and more suitable. And probably it'd just be better for that kind of thing, okay, is what I'm saying. Now, obviously, for the money you save over a Land Cruiser, you could buy something like, I don't know, a Kia Cerato or a Hyundai i30, Toyota Corolla, whatever you want, and you could just do that for your daily driver, and you just, go to the shops and go out for dinner on a Saturday night when you're not on the road to Dingo Piss Creek, thus having the best of both worlds for a similar cost. And I flat out do not understand why more Dingo Piss Creek visitors do not at least canvass the truck option if they really are committed to towing something so fucking stupidly heavy, okay? And I'd further suggest that you don't really need a 2.7 tonne Taj Mahal to visit cool places in Australia. You just really don't. There's this incredible upselling being foisted upon you by the marketing departments of caravans, and also peer group pressure is a thing among other, blue singlet, beard stroking, would-be Dingo Piss Creek visitors. Because if you turn up in a tiny van, you're going to look like Mr. Puniverse at a pornographic movie casting or something, right? And nobody wants that. But are you going to cave into peer group pressure, or are you going to get what you really need? And I think if you did rock up to a campsite in a properly equipped one of these, there's going to be a small turning of heads and what the hell is that? And a certain amount of truck envy. So that's just how I'd approach it. And furthermore, I'd suggest that instead of treating the purchase of a caravan like it's a separate thing to the vehicle, you got to do it both together. Okay, you got to not commit to the van until you've got the vehicle solution in place. Otherwise, you're going to end up in whatever it was, May of 2023, with just a dirty big piece of ugly garden furniture stuck in the front yard or out on the street, endlessly just bringing down the general tone of the suburb, right? And if you've got nothing you can tow it safely with or responsibly with, what was the point of devoting all of those resources to that? So if you are one of those would-be DPC visitors, then just
wrap it all up. This is a whole proposition. You're not buying a van and then we'll think about the vehicle, or we're not buying a vehicle and we'll think about the van and, oh, Jesus, we wanted to tow a bigger van than that. Like, do it both together. Solution A and solution B have to be contemporaneous, integrated, right? So that the van matches the vehicle and vice friggin' versa. You're welcome, dude. Let me know if you've had a similar experience to that with your Dingo Piss Creek visiting combination, because I get that if you haven't done a technical job, right, and that's allowed, right, you're allowed to be a vitally important sales rep or something, and then you're allowed to retire and go on the big lap or become a grey nomad. But if you haven't had technical expertise, how hard was it for you to figure this shit out and arrive at a financially bearable, safe, conservative, functional towing combination? And let me know which version of vehicle and van you opted for. What are the masses, and what are the vehicles actually doing the job out there, and are you happy with it, or are you just secretly doing, caravan porn and hoping to upgrade? I'd love to hear from you about that in the comments below. Thanks for watching.